Okay, so let's just double check this again. Sorry guys, 1 second. I think I don't do this very often and that's why, but I am live now apparently. So let's see if we can all find the one that works. Okay, so let's just double check this again. Sorry guys, 1 second. I think I don't do this very often and that's why, but I am live now apparently. So where is this coming from? Okay, so we are live. Hopefully, hopefully you guys can find this. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that I was going to have problems switching between accounts. So where is this? Okay. So yeah, I guess you guys are going to just have to swap over this one, and I apologize. Next time we'll get it figured out. This shows how much I go live, which is not very much at all. So we'll figure it out. Apparently it is working. And if you guys can hear me and see me, just type something in the brand new chat, because obviously the old chat isn't working. And I'm not sure, it must be this one that we're live on. This shows how much I go live, which is not very much at all. So, okay, so Dave on Rave, okay, hi. So, okay, we're just gonna start here and it'll work. It'll all figure itself out. So welcome you guys to our first live on YouTube for LBCC Historical. I'm really happy to be here with you today. And I see you guys are already chatting, so I'm happy about that. So everything is working. So today what I wanted to do is, yes, I'm so glad you can hear me. Thank you, Elizabeth. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to continue the tutorial chatty video that we had on our Facebook page, which if you guys aren't fans of the Facebook page or haven't subscribed, do that. Subscribe to this channel. And so you guys can be kept up with notifications, and we're doing a few more live videos than we usually do, and we like to chat with you guys while we do that. So here the Apothecary cat is probably going to join us. She's been very cuddly today. So we're going to continue this, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you guys how I brush out my set, my hair set, and get a really cute Hedy Lamarr type vintage look. And it's super easy, and Kira, it's super easy, and it works really well for everyday vintage. So if you haven't watched the other video, feel free to watch it. I'll probably upload it here too, but let's begin. So I want to show you guys what I kind of have in my arsenal here. You don't need very much. It's not going to take very long if everything works out, which fingers crossed it will. So when we set my hair, I set it damp out of the shower. It wasn't wringing wet, but it was pretty much dry, just a little damp. And then we sprayed the 1930s curl set in it in 3 sections, combed it out with a large tooth comb. And then we began to partition everything out and put it in curlers. Now I used 3 different curlers to get this look, and these 3 right here, and we talk about it in the other video, so if you want more in depth, check that out. Can you sit down at least if you want to be in my lap, please? Thank you. These ones go on the top because you want a looser curl on the top, and then these ones go on the sides because you want a tighter curl on the side, especially for this 1940s style. And then these guys I use on the bottoms because my hair is really, really fine. So it's not thin. My strands itself are pretty thick, but my hair itself is really fine. So I have a pretty decent chunk of it, not like everybody who has really super thick hair, but this is what works for me. Everybody's going to be a little different. So you will have to kind of experiment to see what works for you. So what you're going to need in order to do this hairstyle are just a couple things. You kind of have to decide what hair combs you guys want. What hair combs you guys want. These ones are the long hair combs. And then these ones, do you want to say hi to everybody as long as you're up here? You say hi? No. Okay. She's vocal today though. These ones are the small ones. And so I usually like using these larger ones. You can kind of see the difference here in size. But we'll have to see kind of how the curl behaves, because that's how I always kind of fly by the seat of my pants depending on what the curl wants to do at the moment. So the next thing you're going to need is, I always have my brushes on hand just in case. Wide tooth, small tooth comb. This is my small tooth, but it's also a parting comb as well. And I have two different styles of brushes. I have a hard boar bristle brush and a soft vintage boar bristle brush. The next thing you're going to need is some curl sets. We have in our shop, we have a 1930s curl set and we have a 1912 curl set. Either one will work. And some soft pomade. This is our rose pomade. I did bring my jar of hard pomade just in case, but I don't think I'm going to need it. And then if your hair is very fine, you may need some bobby pins just to make sure to kind of secure your combs in place. All right, I'm just gonna. Okay, so that pretty much is it. And we're going to take this off. So I've switched scarves because I sleep in the pink one that I had on. And this is kind of my, this is kind of my everyday around the house vintage scarf. And I didn't do anything to the curls last night. So I actually, normally what I would do if I didn't get to brush them out that day, I would sit at my vanity and I would I would take them out and kind of brush them and reform them just to make them nice. But I didn't even do that. I didn't even do that last night. So we'll see how it all works. Yeah, finding good hair combs is the key. This one is even a vintage one. When I find the vintage ones, I kind of pick them up because some stay in your hair really well and then others don't. So, okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to start at the bottom and take our curls out. Now, what I did before I went to bed, and those of you who were following already know this, but we took these out and I just replaced them with bobby pins because for me, it's a lot easier to sleep. So we're just gonna take them out and they're pretty, this one you can kind of see here, they're pretty tight. And the closer we get up to the top of the head, the more the curls will be a little bit looser. And that's what you're looking for with these hairstyles. Combs versus brush can be a dilemma sometimes. Yeah, I would definitely suggest for those of you who are looking into starting to set your hair and working with vintage styles, to make sure to get a boar bristle brush, a hard one and a soft one, and then a really nice parting comb and wide tooth comb. And those are going to help you immensely on your journey. So, and this was the one, oops, this one right here. This one is going to be fine, but this was the one we had problems tucking not yesterday, but the day before. So always got to make sure your ends are tucked really well. Isn't foam softer than pins for sleeping? That's a really good question. For a while, I did sleep on my foam rollers, and it's fine. It works just fine. But I usually, for whatever reason, I've decided to just take them out because I think, for me personally, bobby pins are a little bit nicer to sleep on. Sometimes, though, I will leave. Sometimes I'll leave these top ones in. Let me make sure I get them all out. Hello. Hello, Apothecary Cat. Okay. Okay, well, this poses a problem here. This poses a problem, honey. We can cuddle later. Okay. Here, just sit down. Okay. So they are all out. So the first thing I do is I just kind of pull my fingers through it. I don't put any product in yet. We'll put the product in just a little bit. And this is personal preference. Sometimes people like to put a little bit of the curl set using it as hairspray and then letting it dry. But I will put that in later after we get everything kind of set and worked up. So Let's see, I kind of sort of have a mirror set up this time. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to take my wide tooth comb, and I'm just kind of starting at the bottom, and I'm just lightly combing them out. Are you a happy cat? Mm-hmm. And so the thing about wide tooth combs is, even though like a lot of people think wide tooth combs are just for people with really thick, long hair, that's not the case. With my fine hair, I definitely need a wide tooth comb, especially like after you get out of the shower, and you don't want to comb through your hair while it's wet, because that leads to breakage. So when it's damp, a wide tooth comb through your hair works really, really well. Okay, so then the next thing you want to do is you want to take your boar bristle brush, and I'm going to actually part my hair first. So in order to achieve this, you need to part your hair down the middle. And I know it looks crazy. It'll look super cute when we're done with it. Okay. So now you can take your boar bristle brush, and in the back, but are you safe and well? And Patrick is too, and your friends. Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking. We're all doing good. All of our friends, we check in with everybody often. We're doing good. The thing with Patrick and I is that because we run the business from home, we are at home 24/7 all the time. So we're actually really good at being hermits. And you know, it's working, but I appreciate it. I hope you guys are doing well too. Let us know in the comments how you guys are all handling it and how well you're doing. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my boar bristle brush. I'm going to take this because this stuff's going to go back. I have to look in the mirror because otherwise everything is reversed. And then I switch over to my wide tooth comb. Mr. and Mrs. Hermit, oh, totally. So what I did here is I'm just brushing this top back here. And because when we rolled this top, this is really important. So when we rolled this piece of hair, it was one big chunk and we rolled it back. And that's what's giving us the height here. All right, so now that we parted our hair, here, part it one more time. It's pretty good. We're gonna take our wide tooth comb, and I'm doing good. It's difficult to work from home, but bliss to be barefoot and comfy. I am barefoot right now, actually. It is true. It is true. So, okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking this piece right here, and I'm pulling it up just a little bit. And I'm going to put my comb in right there, and we'll fix this all in just a second. So same with the other side. If you feel like it's a little messy right now and you want to fix it, this is where your soft pomade comes in. So you would not use hard pomade for this because hard pomade has wax in. It's not going to be as smooth as soft pomade. This is more for, soft pomade is more for really getting shine and kind of defining the curls, where you use hard pomade if you're going to, let's say, use a pin set, or if you're going to like pin a piece of hair in place, you can use hard pomade for that, and that works really well. I'm just in socks as I'm cold, but if it's warmer, I'm always barefoot. I agree. Okay, so I have just a little bit of pomade in my hands. It's probably like, let's see if I can, like that much, very, very small. And I just rub it between my hands, and then I'm just putting it, scrunching it in my hair just a little bit. So this hair set will last you a good 5 days or more if you take care of it. And let's say, you know, the one day you had a curl that didn't really curl very well and you kind of tucked it in. At night when you recurl it, the morning it will be curly again. So you just have to work, and that's where at night you could use a little bit of hard pomade as well. So, right. It's so funny. I always feel like I'm rushed, but I'm not really rushed. We could take as long as we want. But I always feel like I'm rushed when I do live videos. Okay, so up on the sides a little bit. All right, so this is where I'm taking my comb and I have my part right here. Up. So tonight I'll probably focus a little bit more on making sure this is a little bit curlier tomorrow, but for today it doesn't matter because that's the beauty of vintage hairstyles and just running around the house for normal daytime wear. They don't have to be perfect, and that's what I love about this because if I had to keep my hair perfect all day long, especially working in the apothecary, which most of the time I have to have a scarf on anyway, it won't work. So I'm all about looking like chic with a little bit of messy, with a little bit of vintage. It's all good. Okay, so instead of like putting this in backwards and flipping it up, your hair part in the middle is slightly to one side or to the other. Mine should be, I tried to do it straight in the middle, but I think it did pretty good. But yeah, part your hair right in the middle. And then that's why by curling this up and back, that's where you get that extra height up there. So instead of going up and over like this, I just find the place that I want to put in my comb and then I put it in that way. Gotta flip it around here. Because I feel like I have more control over it. Oh no, do you? No, it's parted in the middle. Yep, it's parted in the middle. Me personally, my hair parts wherever it wants to go. So if I part it off to the side, it usually stays off to the side. If I part it down the middle, it usually stays down the middle. So hopefully I answered that correctly. But for like everyday purposes, it just kind of does whatever it wants to do. Normally, like I said, if I'm running around and we're not leaving all day long, which is a lot of the time these days, it just stays in my hairpins in my scarf. So, but if I do go out, normally I do this hairstyle. So normally it's parted down the middle. Do any products crumble in your hair after a short while and recommended to avoid them? Crumble. What do you mean by crumble? Like cake? Is that what you're talking about? Caking? If you're talking about caking, I haven't had that other than if you get too much dry shampoo or too much hair powder in, sometimes it cakes. But usually to prevent that, you would take your combs and your boar bristle brushes and you would really work on brushing it out. And that's the beauty with these sets. So when you're thinking about keeping a set in for days and days and days, the more you comb it out at night and the more you use your boar bristle brush at night, and then you pin it up, and then you can put on some more curl set lotion, the more you make sure your hair is clean. It cleans your hair out as you're brushing it. So crumble as you go, dry and flaky. No, I personally don't really have that problem. No. And damage your hair skin. No, I really haven't had that problem. There was one time years back where I was using a lot of hair powder, and this is when we were traveling, so we would just go from show to show to show, and I wasn't able to really wash my hair in between, and I don't think I was doing a really good job of pulling out the hair powder when I was putting it back in, and so my head started to itch at that time, and I looked it up and it said that sometimes when people use too much hair powder or you use too much dry shampoo and they don't pull it out enough, it can actually get stuck in the hair follicles, which can cause itching. So yeah, so if you're using your dry shampoo and using your hair powder, just make sure to brush it out really, really well. And I can definitely see why crumbling with dry and flaky and hair damage and skin would be on cheap products, because if you look up those ingredients in those products, there's good reasons for that. So yeah. Okay, so we have one in, and if you look, you can see how like I have this wonderful natural lift up in front. Let's see if we can get the other one. Here's my brush or my comb. And for me, I'm just picking up, like I didn't even part my hair. I'm just picking up whatever the front picks up, whatever the front comb picks up. So. And what I'm doing with this is I'm kind of pulling it and pushing it over to the front. And then if you see, okay, if you see where this side is standing up a little bit higher, you have to kind of bring the side up to meet it just a little bit. So you have to play with that. You have to play with that a little. So let's see, like this. Sometimes what I do, depending on how I need to get it to sit, is I twist it just a little bit. And that helps just push that top front out. This guy will have to be sprayed up. Okay, so today I'm using the big combs. And again, I'm finding where I need the comb put in, clearing the hair away, and popping the comb in. Okay, and now this is where, depending on how much time you have, you can use your board bristle brushes and you can curl it around and you can make really beautiful curls. If you don't have a lot of time and you're just in a hurry, you don't have to do that. But if you're going to do that, I would recommend using a wide tooth comb for starters, a little pomade, a little soft pomade, not hard pomade, just a little bit. So these ends, if you wanted to use a little bit of hard pomade on the ends, you could do that. And that'll kind of help the ends. But see, you can get, like, you can work with it and you can get a really nice big curl. For me, I'm not too worried about that. If I was going out and I wanted my hair to look really polished, I would. So again, and you can use your board bristle brushes for this too. I would probably take a curling iron to that, but it does stay. All right. I'm just so used to the messy look. And the trick is to, if you set your hair right, the curls shouldn't really fall out. I mean, they might fall a little bit, but they really shouldn't fall out completely. Yeah. So for this one, because I curl these under to begin with, I would curl them under with my board bristle brush. And you can keep futzing with it until it's really pretty. But I think you guys kind of get the gist of it. So, and then the next thing you want to do is just double check your fronts here. See how this, can you guys see how this is like kind of forming a really nice wave? That's the gist of it. So for the tops, curl set. You could also curl things under once you have your hair set. Like let's say, okay, so let's say like you don't like that curl. What you could do if you're running around the house is you could get your hair set like this, and then you could put your hair in a pin curl, and then you can pin it back in. So there's lots of stuff you can do. And now with everybody staying home, this is the time to practice. I have a question to ask you. Is this hair cartwheel proof? This hair, yes. So yes, so this hair would be cartwheel proof. Definitely would be cartwheel proof. For those of you who don't know the story, it's funny that you brought that up. That was a long time ago. For those of you who don't know the story, I did a cartwheel once in 18th century dress with very, very tall hair and plumes. And I didn't stick the cartwheel only because the floor was freshly waxed. And, but I did manage a cartwhel. The hair and everything and all the plumes stayed in perfectly. So that is the story. Okay, so this side, I like the way this side looks. This is a good side. And remember, you guys, you can put your curls back in for the day if you're just kind of wandering around the house. That works too. So yeah, I don't know what else do you guys want to talk about. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like that's how easy it is. That's how easy it is to do. It's not that hard. And depending on how much you want to futz with your curls depends on, you know, the final look of it. But for me, I'm cool with just having kind of an everyday vintage-esque hairstyle. And tomorrow, so like if I set my hair tomorrow, this will be even better. I find as I go along for the week, I find that, I'll say like I already started to curl, I find that my hairdressing is faster, quicker, and looks a little more polished. So. All right. So do you guys have any other things you guys want to talk about, or can we see the back 360? We can try to see the back, sure. Let me actually like try and like make it a little bit better because I have no idea what it looks like. I didn't even look at it. So okay. So here is my back. I don't know if you can see that properly. So hopefully that works. Yeah, and remember, if you get too much pomade in, you can always put in some dry shampoo and comb it out. So it works either way. And yeah, I'm so glad you guys joined us. Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad you guys joined us. If there is nothing else you guys want to chat about, I think I'm going to end this stream. And so the thing is, like with Hedy Lamarr's hair, her hair was a lot fuller than mine. Like we're looking at a picture of like massively thick hair with smaller pin curls versus mine, which was like finer hair with larger pin curls, and that's going to make a difference. And so you know, virtual hugs to all. Yeah. Yes, very much. So the last thing I want to say to you guys is if you feel like you need to secure them a little bit, I just put in one bobby pin and I flip it right through the top of it. And that usually secures it down. This bothers me. This is the thing with live video. Like, I could just keep primping forever and ever to like get it exactly the way I want it, but I don't think you guys want to constantly watch it. So see, look how it stays. I can't bite open pins anymore because I chipped a tooth. So my grandma was right. She said, don't open bobby pins with your teeth because you're going to chip them. And I chipped my tooth. Yep. So we don't do that anymore. See, this is, I mean, it's just proof that once you have the right product in your hair, you can do all kinds of things with it. There's a story to that, you don't mind. I mean, it's just a simple story. I was shocked that my grandma was, well, I wasn't shocked that my grandma was right because she's usually right. But yeah, she did warn me about that and I didn't listen. And eventually it was just too much. So now I try to open them on my knee before. Yeah, that was a few. I remember I took a photo and I posted it of like me trying to eat breakfast after I had the patch put in. Didn't work out very well. So basically what I'm doing right now is I just, just putting it in pin curls in the back. And this is just a really cute style too, you know, like the thing with vintage styles is that it doesn't always have to be perfect. Like there's a time and place for perfect vintage hairstyles and vintage hairstyles that are really smooth and done well. Like I totally appreciate a really good vintage style. But if you look at pictures of just everyday women, right, they're normal everyday hairstyles and they're not always perfect. They're not always smooth. They're not always smooth and shiny. Like, so I want to throw that out there because I'm like a perfect example of that. So it's okay. Like if they're not 100% perfect, so anyway, I think this is how I'm going to wear it for now because I'm going to actually go mud a wall because that's what we do around here. We just do crazy things. So I'm going to let you guys go. And thank you so much for tuning in. And maybe we'll have things figured out a little bit better on our next YouTube Live. But I think this was a good start. So thanks for joining us, you guys. And you can see how super simple it is. And there's a lot of variations as we've proved today. So yeah, take care.